Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report at Media Row, covering the Super Bowl. We're going to get into the major Raiders news that you need to see because a lot of coaching stuff just ended up going down. We're keeping some guys. We're moving on from some guys also. If you didn't see the clip, Fernando Mendoza knows that Raider Nation wants him. Go check it out on my social media at Mitchell Renz 365, but that's why you subscribe. Raiders videos every single day. We don't take any days off. We're going to be partying later on today at Fairway Sports Bar and Lounge. If you don't know, in San Jose, over 500 Raider fans are going to be there. Make sure that you pull up. But the reason why I want y'all to pay attention to today's show, Raider fans should be clapping their hands at the news of all the coaches that they're moving on from and the coaches that they're ending up keeping, because if anybody that's watched this show knows, there's been 3 coaches that I've been saying over and over and over again that if you're John Spytek, Tom Brady, and if you're the new head coach, Klint Kubiak, these are the guys that you need to keep. But first, let's talk about the coaches that we're moving on from. First name here, quarterback coach Greg Olson. I've always respected him. Has been somebody that's been a part of this organization before, but I do believe when you bring in Klint Kubiak, he's going to bring in his own guy. Maybe it's Andrew Janocko, maybe it's Jake Pete, somebody over there in that Seattle staff, but if you can bring one of those guys in, would love it. Assistant quarterback coach Nathan Carroll, later to the Carrolls, wide receiver coach Chris Beatty, and I would say the number one coach that Raiders fans are going to be excited, and let's be all real here. We knew that they were going to be moving on from Brennan Carroll, the offensive line coach, because he turned this Raiders O-line into one of the worst offensive line groups in the NFL. So knowing that you're moving on from Greg Olson, knowing that you're moving on from Nathan Carroll, knowing that we are moving on from the Carrolls, can everybody watching this video right now go down below, give me a goodbye, because I'm telling you this, I saw the news and I was literally sitting here going, nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 nah. Hey, get out of here, Carrolls. Couldn't wait to see this news be officially official. It looks like 2026 is finally in the direction that we are finally going in that right direction. I got more coaches here that we're moving on from. John Glenn, that's somebody that had a lot of Pete Carroll ties, why they brought him in. Marcus Roberson, the cornerback coach. I was wondering if they were going to bring him back. He's got some Klint Kubiak ties from their time together in New Orleans. Joe Philbin, I got a lot of respect for that man. Kyle Fuller, defensive quality control coach Beyah, Rasool, and then Darius Swinton. They have moved on from him. He actually just accepted a job with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then special teams assistant Kade Rannings. Coming up next here on the show, I'm going to tell you the coaches that are still on the staff, and the Raiders got it right. I want to be very, very clear on that. There's 3 coaches that I've been begging John Spytek and this organization to keep, and they're keeping all 3 of those coaches. I'm going to tell you who they are and all the other guys that are going to remain with this Klint Kubiak staff. Before I decide to get into that, though, America's #1 fantasy sports app out there, it's Prize Picks. And if you haven't already, make sure you download the Prize Picks app today. Make sure that you use code CLNS to be able to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. We got to be able to face the facts. The big game, dude, it's literally almost here. I can't even believe it. I'm sitting back, ready to rock and roll. I can't wait to watch Klint Kubiak get into the action. And what's wild is it's literally this Sunday. So pay attention, because Prize Picks is you're going to be able to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineups. It's been a wild week out here. And being able to see how the Seahawks are preparing, being able to see how the Patriots are preparing. You know what I'm preparing for? I'm preparing an absolute clinic for Klint Kubiak in this offense. But the #1 deal that you need to be looking at is that Drake May, 0.5 passing yards. You got to be able to give me the more on that one. Sam Darnold, give me the less on the interceptions. Jackson Smith and Jigba. You can see I'm rolling with A.J. Barner. I'm rolling with all things Seattle. Why? Because I want to see points up on the board. And if you're trying to see some money in your pocket, download the Prize Picks app today. Make sure that you use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And I don't mean to sit up here and say I was right saying that the Raiders were going to keep certain coaches, but smart organizations do smart things. And yes, there's always a lot of concentration on the head coach, a lot of concentration on the OC, the DC, but a lot of times it's those building block fundamental guys, which is when you can get over the hump. Because if your coaching staff doesn't know the players the way that they should, you look like the Pete Carroll Raiders from last season. So the coaches that this organization has decided to hang on from, the first one, Rob Leonard. He's one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL, and this was the #1 coach that I wanted the Raiders to be able to keep. You know, we've been hearing a lot of Max Crosby trade rumors. I messaged Max. I've talked to people close to Mr. Crosby, and everything that I'm hearing is it still sounds like he wants to remain here with the silver and black. There's going to be another name that I throw out there that the Raiders ended up keeping that, again, some people watch this show are going to know the name that I bring up, but the name that the Raiders are keeping on this coaching staff, Rob Leonard, that's a slam dunk. Assistant wide receiver coach Connor McQueen, staying with the organization. Tight ends coach Luke Steckel, he is one of the best tight end coaches in the National Football League. He stayed on multiple, and I mean multiple Titans coaching staffs when they moved on from all their different guys. That's somebody that's working with Brock Bowers. That's somebody working with Michael Mayer. Coaching analyst Keenan Clarke. Running backs coach Deland McCullough. This is massive because McCullough was getting some interviews with the Kansas City Chiefs. They were looking to bring him in and Eric Bieniemy, but because he's got some of those Notre Dame ties, really happy that he's staying here with the silver and black. Defensive assistant Rowan, this is a great one. VP of coaching operations Matt Capurro. A little bit surprised on that one because he's got a lot of Carroll connections from their days back in Seattle. Defensive pass game coordinator Joe Woods. I like this one a lot. Woods was with Kubiak with the New Orleans Saints last season. Kenyon Jackson, the assistant defensive line coach. Here's the bigger ones, right? You got Deuce Gruden, strength and conditioning coach. A.J. Nebel is the important name there. There was a show, I'm going to say, last offseason a few months ago where Max Crosby kind of talked about the most important guys in his circle. A.J. Nebel is one of the most important guys in Max Crosby's circle. I know Jay Glazer was throwing out a lot of rumors based on what I've been hearing here at Super Bowl Media Row. I hear it was a lot of chatter, and I think people are still living back in December. They're living back when, the Raiders decided to put Max Crosby down for the end of the season. Max, everything that I've been hearing, he is all in on being a Raider. He's all in on the nation. Everybody that I talk to, again, says that he wants to remain a Raider for life. I'm not saying that it's impossible, because if you end up getting the draft compensation that Jay Glazer reported, which is somewhat the Cowboys got for Micah Parsons, 2 first-round picks and a Pro Bowl caliber player, you absolutely positively have to think about it. Whether you like to say that or not, nobody is above the shield. But the 3 big coaches that the Raiders found a way to retain, Rob Leonard, Deland McCullough, so running back coach, defensive line coach, and then you're also able to keep tight end coach Luke Steckel. That is outstanding. And then the cherry on top, again, this is the #1 coach that I guarantee you, when he looks down this list, besides Rob Leonard, Max Crosby's going to go, you kept my guy, A.J. Nebel. On the strength and conditioning coaches. Max is with that dude every single day. He's in there working out with them at 6 a.m. I'm telling you right now, the Raiders got a lot of these hires right. And it's just like anything. You got to wait and see how this coaching staff ends up breaking it down. But the reason why people subscribe to the Raiders Report is because I know these coaches like the back of my hand. I know this organization like the back of my hand. And this is why I want y'all to subscribe. So the big news is this. The Raiders are moving on from a lot of coaches. The Raiders are keeping a lot of coaches. I'm going to be here at Super Bowl Media Row. I'm going to try to get some more interviews for all of y'all this entire week. But what I want to know before I get out of here, which coach are you the most happy that the Raiders are keeping in Las Vegas? Make sure you guys let me know down below. And again, if you don't know, tonight in San Jose, we're doing a Raiders Report meetup. I think it's going to be the biggest Raiders party of 2026, the biggest Raiders party that's ever gone down in San Jose. If you know where Fairway Sports Bar and Lounge is, make sure you're there, make sure you pull up, make sure you bring your drinking pants, and make sure you get ready to rock and roll.